Mist drifts low across a winding river as forested hills fade into shadow and light. The water moves slowly, deliberately, as if choosing its path. The world feels hushed, almost waiting. This is a place shaped not by roads or borders, but by a river. We're here to understand how water can define land, memory, and meaning. This is Whanganui National Park, and this story begins by following the current. The river bends gently through dense green forest, disappearing and reappearing like a thought half remembered. Sunlight filters through tall trees, glinting off the water's surface. The valley feels deeper than it looks. Whanganui National Park unfolds quietly across the central North Island. Though the river itself lies just beyond official boundaries, it shapes everything around it. Here, water is not scenery. It is structure, direction, and soul. Aerial views reveal long, uninterrupted stretches of forest rolling toward the horizon. Ridges rise and fall, untouched and continuous. The river traces a silver line through it all. This park spans more than 700 square kilometers, yet it feels larger, more remote. The river gives the land rhythm, carving space and time into gentle curves. Distance here is measured not in kilometers, but in bends. Water laps softly against the riverbank as leaves rustle overhead. A paddle breaks the surface, sending ripples outward. Birdsong drifts through the valley. The Whanganui River moves with patience. It invites travelers to slow their pace and listen. This is why journeys here feel different. Quieter, longer, more deliberate. Towering kahikatea rise from the lowland forest, their trunks straight and ancient. Rimu and tawa fill the understory, creating layers of green. Light struggles gently to reach the forest floor. These forests are the backbone of the park. Podocarp, hardwood ecosystems have stood here for centuries, holding soil, sheltering life, and steadying the land. Without them, the river's story would unravel. A shadow moves through the undergrowth as a bird darts between branches. The riverbank shows subtle signs of life. Tracks, feathers, movement. The forest feels alert. Wildlife thrives where the valley remains intact. Rare birds depend on the stability of this forest, surviving where disturbance is minimal. In Whanganui, preservation is not passive, it is essential. The forest darkens slightly, thickening into silence. Leaves shift softly near the ground. The sense of night lingers even during the day. Somewhere here, the North Island brown kiwi moves unseen. Elusive and rare, it represents what remains when land is allowed to stay whole. Not everything in Whanganui reveals itself, and that is part of its power. Canoes glide downstream, their movement slow and steady. The water reflects trees, sky, and motion all at once. The river curves ahead, hiding what comes next. The Whanganui journey follows this natural route, tracing history and landscape together. Traveling by river changes perspective. Progress becomes surrender, to current, to time, to terrain. A paddle dips rhythmically into the water. Echoes bounce softly off valley walls. The river responds with calm acceptance. Movement here feels earned, not rushed. The river does not demand speed. It rewards patience. And with each bend, the journey deepens. Steep drop-offs rise above the river, wrapped in uninterrupted forest. No roads intrude. No structures dominate the view. This remoteness is intentional. The park's terrain creates separation from the outside world, even when you're not far away. Whanganui teaches that distance is sometimes emotional, not physical. A concrete bridge emerges unexpectedly from the forest, standing alone. Moss creeps along its edges. Trees frame it like a forgotten monument. This is the bridge to nowhere, a reminder of human plans interrupted. Built for a settlement that never lasted, it now belongs to the forest. In Whanganui, history doesn't disappear, it gets reclaimed. The camera lingers on the bridge as vines and shadows soften its lines. Birds pass overhead. The river continues undisturbed. What was meant to connect people now connects ideas. Nature did not reject the bridge, it absorbed it. And in doing so, revealed which presence here is permanent. Light fades slightly as clouds pass overhead. The river darkens, deepening in tone. The forest exhales. Moments like this reshape perspective. Whanganui is not about conquest or arrival. It is about coexistence and acceptance. Old access points appear along the riverbank. Paths fade into trees. Signs of past use remain faint but present. People have lived alongside this river for generations. Their traces remain woven into the land, not imposed upon it. Whanganui holds memory gently, without spectacle. Forest extending beyond the park's edges, uninterrupted. The river continues far beyond the frame. Official boundaries feel irrelevant here. The ecosystem does not stop where lines are drawn. Whanganui feels expansive because nature does not recognize limits. Morning fog lifts slowly from the water. Reflections sharpen. The current remains steady. Time moves differently here. Days stretch, moments linger, and the river keeps its pace. Whanganui reminds us that rhythm is more important than speed. A blue duck moves calmly along the river's edge. Insects skim the surface. The forest watches quietly. Species survive here because the system holds. Stability allows life to continue without interruption. In Whanganui, balance is the unspoken rule. The river curves once more, disappearing into forest and light. The scene feels both complete and unfinished. This is where Whanganui reveals itself fully, not as a destination, but as a process. You don't conquer this place. You move with it. The forest settles into evening tones. The water darkens, reflecting sky instead of trees. Everything slows. Whanganui National Park offers something rare. Not spectacle but continuity. Not dominance, but belonging. The river flows onward, unchanged, patient, enduring. The forest stands quietly beside it. Here, land and water tell the same story. A story of restraint, resilience, and respect. Whanganui doesn't ask to be admired, it asks to be followed.